What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rich Talks BS. I'm your host, Rich, All-Star Game Edition. This year's All-Star Game or All-Star Day is a little different than what we've been used to in the past. You know, in the past, it's been a weekend. You know, with a Friday, Saturday, and then the NBA game on Sunday. This year, everything's being done all in one day. Coverage is starting like at 5 o'clock on Sunday, March the 7th, but everything else is going to start like around 5:30, 6 o'clock ish. And, that's with the skills challenge, the 3-point contest, and then the dunk contest is during halftime. So, like I said, this year's All-Star series, I guess that's what we're going to call it, is different. The participants in the 3-point shootout and the 3-point competition and the skills challenge are going to be all-star participants, kind of like, trying to keep the numbers down on everyone traveling. This year's all-star game in all-star series is in Atlanta this year, so they're trying to keep travel down, especially with COVID and everything. So let's get into the all-star roster. Team LeBron. You got your starters for Team LeBron is, of course, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic. Great starting five for LeBron. When LeBron, he even mentioned it during the all-star draft. His drafting was strategic. He can't help it. He's too competitive to just choose whoever he thinks is best at the top. He was drafting players who's gonna complement him on the court. Players who he knows and skill sets that he knows that will coincide with how he plays and have a better chance of winning. For the reserves, so on his bench is going to be Jaylen Brown, Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Domantas Sabonis, and Ben Simmons. Still great picks. The one that's really standing out to me for some reason is going to be Ben Simmons. That's your defensive guy. He's already the defensive player for the Sixers. He doesn't take that many shots. When Ben Simmons gets on the court, I think the game is going to take a little bit of a turn, and he's going to show what he has, and I believe he may do a little bit more shooting in this one, but we'll see. Another one that's kind of standing out to me is Paul George. We might see a different, not a different, but the same Paul George we've been seeing all year, with the scoring. But he's coming off the bench. But we're gonna see him put up some numbers. We're gonna see him put up some points. That's just from the bench. Now from the starters, you got nothing but players that can take over a game. These are players that teams are built around. Like, these are generals. You have 5 generals on one team that will not have a problem stepping back or stepping to the side for the next. Just, it's a friendly competition anyway, but they're still not gonna, do anything to get in each other's way. And these 5 are just, great players. Moving on to Team Durant. His starters, since Durant can't play, he has his starters, who is Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, and Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is the one that's replacing KD in this one. He was in the reserves, and they boosted him up to the starters because he had the next most votes, or he had the most votes of the reserves. So that bumped him up to the starters. This five is pretty good too. It's going to be interesting to see how this 5 can blend together and come together for one night and to show what they can do. Too bad KD is not playing. KD would have been great with this lineup too. especially with his teammate Kyrie. And it's going to be very interesting to see. So Durant's bench, you got Mike Conley, who also is a replacement. He was chosen by the NBA commissioner to replace Devin Booker, who was injured. You got James Harden, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Julius Randle, Nikola Vucevic, and Zion Williamson. That's a great bench too. But when you're looking at the rosters and you're looking at LeBron's rosters versus KD's roster, LeBron's roster looks a little bit more strategic than KD. I mean, I get it, it's just for fun, but still, LeBron's a little bit more competitive, so he's going to show his competitiveness, and it shows in the roster. The one from the bench for Durant's team that's sticking out to me, of course, is James Harden. James Harden, I think, is he could possibly be the All-Star MVP this year. And to be surrounded by these type of players, James Harden is the best player from the bench, and he's just gonna do great. The one that's sticking out for me from the starting lineup is Kawhi. I want to see what Kawhi is gonna do. See if he brings the claw to the game. And he's sticking out for some reason. I'm just not sure what it is, but he's just sticking out to me from the starting roster, from the starting lineup for Durant. And I want to see him put up numbers. I want to see him, show off, show out, and try to just, try to go for the MVP. So we got the Rising Stars roster. The Rising Star game will not be played, and the roster was chosen, that was voted on by the assistant coaches in the league. So for Team USA, for the USA team, you've got LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, DeAndre Hunter, Keldon Johnson, Ja Morant, Michael Porter Jr., Zion Williamson, and James Wiseman. For the world team, you have Precious Achiuwa, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Danny Avdija, RJ Barrett, Facundo Campazzo, Brandon Clark, Luguentz Dort, Rui Hachimura, Theo Maledon, and Michael Mulder. I would have wanted to watch this game. This game would have been very interesting to see, and it just to show off, the first years and second year players, and to see what they can do, together and against each other. It would have been a very interesting game to see. Wish we could have seen it, but of course we can't see it this year, of course, because of the traveling issues and because of the pandemic. So the slam dunk contest, the participants is Cassius Stanley, Obi Toppin, and Anthony Simons. That's going to be your three this year. Your judges is Dominique Wilkins, who won it in 85 and 90, Spud Webb, who won it in 86, Jason Richardson, who won it in 02 and 03, D Brown, who won it in 91, and Josh Smith, who won it in 05. This is going to be a 2-round competition. First round, the 3 competitors will perform 2 dunks each. 2 players with the highest combined score will advance to the final round. Final round will only be 1 dunk each. The winner is going to be based on judges' choice and not based on points. So the judges are going to raise a card with the player's name of who they think is the best dunker out of the 2 in the final round. So that's going to be very interesting too. All 3 are first years, and they got hops. They can dunk. They got skills in dunking. We'll see who's going to come out on top on that one. I actually see Obi Toppin winning that one. It's going to be very interesting to see, though. The 3-point contest. You have Steph Curry, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, and Mike Conley. This is going to be a 2-round timed shooting competition, 70 seconds to shoot as many of the 27 balls as they possibly can, with the max score of 40 points in a round. The 3 competitors with the highest score advances to the final round. And then from there, of course, whoever with the highest points at the end of the 70 seconds wins the competition. With this one's going to be very, very good. Especially with these shooters on here, with Curry, Levine, Mitchell, Tatum. Those who I think are more of the 3-point shooters than Jaylen Brown and Mike Conley. But we'll see what happens. And I don't see anyone else but Curry winning this one. The way Steph's been shooting all year, shooting the 3-ball all year, I see no reason why he wouldn't win this one. Sure, I don't be surprised if you see Curry with a perfect score, whether it's the first round or both rounds. Don't be surprised if you see him with a perfect score. I'm not saying he will, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. You shouldn't be surprised if he did. Next, we got the skills challenge. Those participants is Robert Covington, Luka Doncic, Chris Paul, Julius Randle, Domantas Sabonis, and Nikola Vucevic. This, of course, is an obstacle course competition that tests players' dribbling, passing, agility, and 3-point shooting. A 3-round competition with single elimination tournament. 2 players compete simultaneously. One's going to be on one side of the court, the other's going to be on the other side. They're both going to go head-to-head. The winner of the head-to-head matchup will advance. 2 players will receive a bye in the first round on this one. And that one's going to be very interesting to see too. Sabonis, Vucevic, Chris Paul, these are players that, have done this. Luka's done it. Luka can do it. Luka has a good chance of winning this one. But for my pick of the skills challenge, I am going with Luka. Luka is going to win this one. It's going to be kind of hard for him to do. Well, I'm going to say it's going to be hard for him to do, but it's going to be competitive. I see him and Chris Paul in the finals, duking it out for the skill challenge. And, and All-Star Day is going to be very interesting. So I can't wait. Hopefully it's going to be big, and we'll see what happens all in one. Oh, that's all the BS I have for this episode. Until next time.